Welcome, listeners, to Keeping Up with the Nerds Variety Hour, hosted by Rene Bravo and Brian Quevedo. If you are a new listener of the show, please follow us on our socials on Instagram at Keepin' With The Nerds and Twitter at Keepin' With Nerd. Our podcasts are recorded in Whittier, California, and are posted on Podbean, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts every Wednesday at 11:30. Thank you, and enjoy the show.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. You're probably listening to this podcast, in your car, with your headphones on, walking down the street, probably in the living room, bedroom, You're listening, though. I'm here to tell you, listener, if you're listening to this podcast on an audio platform, know that we got a YouTube channel. You can look us up on Keeping Up with the Nerds on YouTube. We post videos weekly now. I'm losing sleep, but we love what we do here. Got more content for you guys. If the hour-long podcast is a little bit too much, we got 10 to 20-minute videos on YouTube talking about a lot of nerdy stuff and giving our opinion. You don't follow us on our socials either? Wow. But you got an Instagram and Twitter, right? Guys, we're on there too. You guys got to look us up. Keeping Up with the Nerds. Follow us on there because, Rene over here, excellent job at keeping, things updated and letting you guys know when things are happening, posting clips here and there. Just... if you want to keep up to date with what we do, we got our socials.
Yes. And on our socials are the link to the YouTube channel.
Oh, wow.
Full circle there.
Wow. Hit that subscribe button, guys.
Yeah.
We're at 41 subscribers.
Or if you're just listening to it and you're not really into all this nerdy thing, refer it to a person that loves nerdy things.
Yeah. Be a good friend. Be a good listener.
Yes.
We love all of you guys. No judgment. None at all. You like TikTok? I heard you like TikTok, listener. Probably on that TikTok right now, right? On that TikTok. I sounded really old by saying that.
On that TikTok.
On that TikToking?
TikToking? You guys are TikToking now?
You're probably on it right now.
Yeah.
Look us up at Keeping Up with the Nerds. We're going to be posting some stuff on there too.
Ooh, yeah.
Follow us, guys.
Yes.
We love the support and we appreciate you guys. You guys want to let us know what you think? Comment on there. Comment on our YouTube videos. Let us know because we will shout you guys out. Listener, we appreciate you. We love you. Keep on listening and let us know what you think. What do you think of that?
That was good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's how we're going to start this.
So calm. You should
Relax.
put like tranquility music or something like that.
That means I have to edit the podcast.
No, don't do that.
Wait a minute. No, hang on. Yeah, no, I put a lot of work into making these podcasts happen. You're on the soundboard over there. You're making everything is in tip-top shape.
Yep.
Quality, 100%. I edit them. Spend hours and hours and hours on it.
100%.
just only the best for everyone.
Definitely.
Yeah.
For you guys.
Love you.
Love you too.
Thank you. And if you're a listener that's been here for the long run.
Yeah.
Almost 40 issues in.
40 issues in. This is issue 39.
Yeah. We love you. And just know that we've loved the support you've given us. Oh, one little last bit. If you're around the Uptown Whittier area, Undercity Comics now has the flyers up.
Yes.
After weeks of it being completed, we finally had the time to go and get it printed out. It's up on the window. Come and check out the store.
Yes.
See what you guys like. They've got a lot of great stuff. Comic books, pop figures if you're into that, board games, D&D books. They've got back issues, all the stuff that you want, and you can come check out the flyer too. So why not if you're around the Uptown Whittier, California area? Because there's a Whittier in Alaska too.
There is.
Yeah.
Wow. Can you imagine people are like in Whittier,
Alaska?
They're like, they record here.
What?
Oh, is that why? I think, remember we looked back and we did get a play in Alaska, didn't we?
Oh, yeah.
Is that why? Because we tagged like Whittier.
Could be.
Okay.
But it depends on how the Whittier up there looks like.
We gotta look that up now.
Yeah. Gotta see if it's like,
exactly verbatim. Just snow.
It's all forest. Just a population of 100 people.
Yeah.
but they have the best internet. They have like gigabit internet. Imagine.
Gigabit internet.
We're getting here in Whittier, we get like 500 megabit max.
Yeah.
Up there in Alaska, gigabit minimum.
Because there's hardly anyone that uses that. There's like that one person that is like, yes, all the internet.
What time is it? Don't know. The sun's always up. I get to play video games on this gigabit internet.
Could you ever live in Alaska with that whole thing, like 30 Days of Night, or like?
You said 30 Days a Night, and my first thought was the movie.
Yeah.
That's where that movie takes place, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
in Alaska. Yeah.
In Alaska.
Right,
Oh my god. Movie's good, but it's like
those vampires were sounded like The Grudge.
I thought about it, and I'm just like, it'd be interesting, but I don't know.
Your
like,
sleep schedule's already effed up.
Yeah.
I don't think you need to like put like 30 days of sunlight or 30 days of night. You would go with, I think you would probably
I'd be
have
insane.
insomnia. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I told you this before we started recording, but I've had because I sleep on average like about 4 hours every night, and it's not because I'm always like super busy. Granted, like I work a 40-hour job. I work another job part-time Monday through Wednesday, and then we record this on Friday.
Yeah.
And then I edit.
Yes.
And work on like, the business cards and flyers and things like that. So if some things get delayed, it's for that reason. I know that the issue or episode 9 of WandaVision came out late. It's supposed to come out on Thursday. But it's coming out,
Hey, that's fine, man.
Came out on Saturday.
It's
But that's
okay.
just because like, holy crap, man, I was just like lacking sleep. I told you before we recorded the podcast, I had a sleepwalking episode that I do not remember.
Yeah.
And that was like the first time that's ever happened to me since I was a kid. I haven't sleptwalked since I was a kid. Then I woke up, before we started recording thinking it was the next day, and it wasn't. So
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on anymore. I'm wide awake right now,
What's
though.
real?
What is reality anymore?
Right.
Unplug me from the
Are
Matrix.
you in the hex right now?
Oh my God. I've always thought about that. Like, what if this is just a simulation? I know people think about that. It's like, oh yeah, well, every nerd thinks about that. Well, yeah, duh.
I thought about that too. Like, what if you just died and you wake up, you're like, you completed your simulation.
It's like, oh God, I just like got a headache just thinking about that right now. Like my mind warped inside out. I was like, well, what if it was a simulation? Like, what if like everything that you do meant something, but it was to unplug yourself into the next reality.
I've seen like those. I've been on TikTok, and you see like those conservative people on TikTok where they'll be like, oh yeah, watch, you're gonna take the vaccine, and it's like you wake up and you're like, oh, welcome, you've failed the simulation and stuff. I was like, what?
Being told you failed the simulation is
Yeah.
not something you want to hear. All right. So,
Right? That's why I
Whoa.
laughed. I was like, what the heck? People are crazy on TikTok, man.
TikTok's a different community, man.
There's so many different communities you get on TikTok now. Like before it was just like, oh yeah, there's like this part of TikTok, but now it's like everything has a label, like like nerd TikTok, geek TikTok, or nerd talk and stuff, or now it's like kink TikTok, like
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I'll say it this way, because there's a lot of like hate when it comes to advancements. I was talking to this about I was talking about this with my fiance earlier this week.
Yeah.
A little short bit before we do the intros. We don't know who did the intro last week. Check it out before. Check it out after the story. We'll check it out right now, and then we'll do the intro. But I was talking to this with my fiance, where it was like, a lot of the older generations, and even we're guilty of it now because we're millennials. But like, Gen Xers and Boomers, essentially, like they always hate the new things that come out. It's like, oh, you kids have it so easy, or like I'll give you an example. Like, for us, YouTube was the norm for a while because that's what we were raised on, right? And then we look at TikTok. And TikTok are like minute videos, essentially. So most people look at this, you hear a lot of Gen Xers. The thing is, oh, well, you guys are, studies show that with these videos, you guys are developing short attention spans because you want your content to be quick. But how great is it to have content be that quick? You have more opportunities to become a creator with that thing.
Yeah.
Because if you're making minute videos, you can move on to the next one, and now you know someone. I have a TikTok. I never wanted to have one until you and my fiance were literally bombarding me with TikTok
Well,
videos.
just because it's easy. Like, people don't make it. I mean, we explain it in a way like, listen, you can make a TikTok and not post anything and just use like a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Like, because you just use it. You can help support other TikTokers and stuff. But you were kind of like, well, what's the point of making one if I'm not going to post anything?
Yeah. And I'll admit I was being an old man going like, oh, you kids and your TikTokings. TikTok. How dare you? Your attention spans are so small.
TikTok, that's the name. That's the sound the clock does.
That was my thought. And it's just like, now that I've like consuming it, it's like, okay, it's pretty genius because I follow a lot of creators. I follow like 50 something creators on there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the heck? I didn't even realize it.
There are also actors or even older actors as well too. They're creating TikToks, comedians, former child stars now, like the guy that was Ned from Ned's Declassified.
And he follows her or him, and I was just like, oh my god.
Yeah, and Josh Peck has a TikTok.
Okay.
I don't think he's active on it though.
Not as much, I don't think.
Even David Cross has a TikTok as well. Jack Black has a TikTok.
Jack Black has everything
Yeah,
though.
but he's so funny on that. Have you seen him on there? Like, he's literally like, most of his TikTok nows are just him dancing in like a Speedo or like dancing or just like shirtless, and he's just like doing his little hops and jumps and stuff like that.
Jack Black is something, man.
Jack Black is awesome. Because he's like, a thick guy, I always want to be like that. Just like
flamboyant and free and
yeah,
whatever.
just don't care, just be funny, but then also have just like, have that courage that you don't care what people will say, because what you do, you're having fun of what you're doing.
I recently saw Jumanji. Me and Andy both saw it.
Welcome to the Jungle one?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
Oh, it was fantastic.
Wasn't it great?
It's not a good movie in the sense that it's like, oh yeah, it's like good production.
No.
But it's like the writing.
It's a clever movie.
Fun.
It's clever. I liked they implemented the original Jumanji.
They just went on.
It just basically, the board game had to evolve
into an Atari,
which I guess makes sense, but also still has that retroness that.
But it's in '96, so you're making a game. Like, I'm sorry, Andy was like, "Why are you nitpicking at this?" And I'm just like, because it doesn't make any sense.
Because in the '90s, no one really played with board games as well, too. That's the thing.
Okay,
but that's
point being,
yeah.
But the kid was playing a PlayStation, so you couldn't make a disc-formed video game Jumanji game. It had to be some sort of Atari cartridge.
Yeah.
Can you like think a little bit better?
Well, it's also to bring in people, just be like, oh, look at this. That's the thing. That's what the board game did. Like, look at the style of the board game. I'm sorry if I'm trying to defend it, because I am.
I'm against it.
I'm just saying, if you remember Jumanji, the original with Robin Williams, the reasoning why, like, it
looked appealing.
It looked appealing. It was obviously they heard the drumming, do, but then you had to see what it was. And you looked at it and you're like, whoa, this is old, but it looks cool. That's the whole.
It's okay, but then
drive-in thing.
Okay, so you can't make a freaking disc that looks appealing. It had to be an Atari cartridge.
Yeah, because it's old but appealing. In the time.
Then make a Nintendo cartridge or something.
Oh my god!
Or is it because you think Atari is like?
It's not owned by Nintendo, so it's a Sony movie as well too.
Wait, is Atari owned by Sony?
I'll
look that up while we do the intro.
Okay, yeah.
Because now that you've said that, I'm like, okay, if you started with that, if you would have said that, I would be like, okay, now I'm on board with it.
It's a Sony film. That's the thing. But did you see? The one thing I did like though is that you see all the heavy PlayStation, like, stuff in the kids' room.
Renee, every Sony movie has heavy Sony advertising.
I know, but it's just funny that's what they do.
In Amazing Spider-Man 2, there's a scene where they close up on the headphones that says like Sony, and it fills up like a quarter of the screen, and you're like,
and he's not Googling anything, he's binging.
Yeah,
like,
on a Sony phone. It was like a Sony Xperia 2. It's like they advertise the crap out of their
stuff. It's
stuff.
just funny to me that they do that.
I'm surprised they haven't advertised their cameras, because they just came out with a new Alpha Series camera.
Oh, they probably will do that in the new Spider-Man movie.
They should, because it's a fantastic camera. I'm running a Canon, but I would, if I had the money, I would totally buy a Sony. So okay, we got to get into the intro because we're like 10 minutes in. So who do you think started? I think I started the last one. I'm gonna bet you that you need to start this next one.
I think I do. Hold on. So should I play the audio from the last week's or?
Yeah, I mean it's our
It's
content.
alright.
What are we gonna
Copyrighted us. We copyrighted
How
ourselves.
dare you play our
I was
content?
gonna literally play what I was listening to last, and that would have copyrighted us right now.
Done. We're canceled
And
right
it would
there.
have been ooh. I shouldn't say who I was
Bet it was me. I started it. You ended it. So that means you start.
Oh yeah. So let's see. Again, guys, if you want to listen to this episode, just go back. This is episode issue 38.
Which is fine, which is good. I'm glad. Really, because it's
Just play it all the way to the end.
why Pinocchio really freaked me out. Tell me, take a.
Oh yeah, the Pinocchio story.
Ready? That's it. Thank you, citizens. For
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's you. We usually do this at the beginning,
We
like
do it at the
before,
beginning, yeah.
but we were so caught up in our conversations. And
That's the thing. Just
yeah.
pull up docs, which will take no time at all.
Are you sure? Because it took you a while to pull up some
That's
ads
'cause
and
I
stuff.
wasn't connected to the internet. I am now. I got it.
Okay, and done.
And
All right,
done.
Renee, let's kick off this episode or this issue. Excuse me. Why do I haven't said I've said issue all these issues, and now all of a sudden I say episode. Let's kick off this issue because we've got a jam-packed one. It's going to be on the serious side for once.
Yes.
So let's go ahead and start it. Renee, give us the intro.
Hello, citizens. Welcome to Keeping Up with the Nerds Variety Hour, coming to you from 12920 Philadelphia Street, Whittier, California, aiming to be Whittier's #1 podcast of all things nerdy. I'm your host, Rene.
And this is Brian.
And welcome to the show, everyone.
Issue 39.
Oh my god.
Almost at 40. We're almost at 1 year in.
Oh my god. Jeez, wow.
Yeah.
Non-stop, too.
Non-stop.
We have not taken a break.
So I'm still okay. You know how like earlier on you would say like people would come into the store and say like, oh yeah, I listened to the podcast, and you're getting like, oh shoot, like you're kind of getting that like
It's
reaction.
still weird to me, but yes.
So I'm getting that reaction.
Now
with my
you
friends.
are.
Yeah, because I've had some
Oh.
friends. You know, shout out Elia was the one that was talking to me about this yesterday.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, I listened to like I think it was like issue 36. It was the J.J. Abrams one.
It smells so good.
I
It
know,
smells
these-
like one of these like nectar juices.
Oh, it's a Rockstar. So I like how these juiced ones are coming out from these energy drinks.
Right?
It's a Rockstar
yeah,
juice that we're
so,
drinking.
Yeah, we're drinking a Rockstar juice, Island Mango. No sugar added, but it's sparkling.
Ooh, it's good. It's good. Anyways, going back to the shout out.
Oh my god. That is so good. That is, oh my god. I'm so sorry. That is really refreshing.
It's good, right?
Oh my god, Rockstar. We're gonna have to take a picture and tag them and stuff. Like,
I'm down for that.
yeah, we gotta take a picture of these. Definitely.
I'll do that actually and send it to you in a
Yeah.
bit. But going back to the shout out, Elia was actually telling me that she was listening to the J.J. Abrams one. And she's like, yeah, you guys are really funny. I'm like, funny? Yeah, I mean, I guess, but you know, thanks. But I was like, I don't know. It's like, I'm not.
kind of condescending, Brian.
No, it's just like I'm like okay, well I'm like, like I don't know how to respond to compliments.
No, that's
the
the thing. So when people tell me, like, I have my customers and they follow me on social media and they're like, yeah, I listen to your podcast. I'm like, oh, thank you so much. But when people say that they also watch our videos, like, I'm like, oh wow, okay, wait, that means you've like physically like seen our bits and stuff like that. I don't know why. I mean, I should be confident in our bits, but it's just I still have that criticism.
So the beauty of it that I thought is that because we don't like we put effort into our stuff.
Yeah.
Right? But a lot of this is natural. Like we're not writing scripts. We're not thinking of like the bits in a long fashion. It's like these things are thought on the spot.
Yeah.
So I think for us when like for example, like when she told me, "Oh yeah, it's like you guys are funny." It's like I'm not trying to be funny, but I'm glad it is funny because that
Yeah.
means that my persona is
And it's not
comedic.
like it's not like the podcast is not trying to be funny because we're just being natural.
We're just vibing.
We're just vibing,
Yeah.
and apparently our vibes bring out humor, which is fine.
That's
I
good.
like.
We
That's
want
good.
that's what we want.
We want to be naturally funny.
We're not making these, videos and
Again.
podcasts to bring you info.
That's the thing too. We don't. Again, we've mentioned it so many times on the show. We do not script anything. We literally come in, talk about it for 20 minutes, and be like, let's go.
Yeah.
Like,
It's low effort, high effort
Yeah.
projects.
Mhm.
It's like, that's why we have to consume caffeine at the end of every issue. We're just
Yeah.
like, oh my God, I'm so dead ass tired.
Mhm.
And then, but we plan this. This is all our vibe, and we want to sell our personalities. This
Yeah.
is what we're giving you guys because, we vibe really, really, really well.
Yeah.
And we're happy with that.
Mhm.
I'm actually genuinely happy that a year later, we're still strong on this and
Mhm.
evolved even more by making videos.
Yeah. And
So-
we're learning, like, if you, like, I was saying this to Brian last week before we were finishing up the WandaVision episode, was that you could tell by our first episode of WandaVision and now how significantly we changed our videos.
Because
now.
we're more comfortable in the camera.
We're more comfortable, and production wise, we have a light now that brightens us, and then we use the mics as well too. We learned.
Yeah.
We learned what to do.
Yeah.
So
So shout out to Elliot. Thank you for
thank
listening
you so
to
much.
us.
And thank you for the compliment.
Yeah.
too.
So hopefully you're listening to this one too, and you heard the little shout out. But
Mhm.
yeah, we appreciate all you guys. So
yes,
let us know. Like I said, like we've said,
Mm-hmm.
tell us what you think. We'll shout you out on the podcast because we
Definitely.
love you all. So,
Mm-hmm.
with that said, let's jump into our serious topic for today.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be talking about cancel culture again. We had an issue a couple months back.
Yeah, we talked about it a while ago. Then we talked about it at the end of our last episode. And
Issue.
last issue. Now that stuff has happened in the past week or so, has brought into our attention, we thought it was a good idea to kind of like, not debate it, but also bring in our opinions. Again, guys, I can't stress this enough. We are legitimately just talking about our opinions.
Our thoughts.
Our thoughts, and we're not trying to force anyone to believe in our opinions or thoughts. We're not trying to do that. We're just telling you what we think.
Yeah.
And it's not facts. We're saying, we're just saying how we feel about it.
Yeah.
And that's basically what we're doing in this
Yeah.
episode.
With that said, we want to make sure that we emphasize that point because this is a very sensitive topic.
It is.
The last time we talked about it, it was with the whole Dr. Disrespect thing, I believe, when he was canned from Twitch.
Yeah.
And then, we were kind of confused as to why. And, we talked about cancel culture. And it'd be interesting to see what our opinions back then were compared to now, like what we stand by and stuff like that. But we're going to, approach this with caution and we're going to try to be respectful as much as possible and understand both sides.
We might tangent a bit, but at the same time, it's not going to be malicious. We're not going to try to prove anything that's wrong. We're just going to bring into what's happened and stuff and our thoughts about it again.
Yeah. So, with that said, again, not trying to offend anyone.
No.
We're going to approach this respectfully.
Yes.
You ready to jump into this cancel culture
Let's
stuff?
do it.
Got it. So, this past week was kind of impactful in the sense that there were a lot of things that were kind of being like nitpicked.
Yeah.
We had a couple things being quote unquote canceled. I'm going to start off by saying Pepe Le Pew is probably one that was kind of weirdly the biggest hot item there.
Yeah, it was the more that got the most of the spotlight for sure.
Yeah.
Pepe Le Pew, which is weird, but at the same time, it's like, we've talked about it before we recorded, and so. But go ahead and tell the listeners, if they don't know, some listeners might not be informed or might not know what's going on, because sometimes we have listeners that don't pay attention to social media or articles. So go ahead and let them know what's going on with Pepe Le Pew.
So he was apparently canned from the new Space Jam movie, and for whatever reason, most people took this as like, this is Pepe Le Pew's coming, that this is his time to get canceled, because if you don't know who Pepe Le Pew is, he's a Looney Tune, a skunk that is in the Looney Tunes. He's French, the cliche French accent and the romantic kind of like rose in the mouth, always like, approaching people and, talking about romance and stuff. But he pursues a cat who he thinks is a skunk.
Yes.
And he approaches her, in the years that he's been active in the cartoons and stuff, a lot of his sketches are is him chasing after her and, harassing her, quote unquote, harassing her.
Yes.
In a way. And
Now,
I say quotations because,
No, I'm going to interject and not play devil's advocate, but then also retort with in the car, because I don't watch a lot of Looney Tunes. I didn't pay attention to Pepe Le Pew. Obviously, for me, it was mostly like Elmer Fudd, Roadrunner, Bugs Bunny and stuff like Daffy Duck. That's who the Looney Tunes I pay attention to. When Pepe Le Pew would sought after the cat, did the cat ever replied no or said no or showed interest? Okay.
The whole thing was that the cat was, I forget her name, but she would like push him away and be like, no, stop, and he would like force himself
keep
on
going.
her.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, this I can remember some of the skits, and it was like basically he would like try to kiss her and she'd be like no, and then like she would go on these like wacky little things like to try to get away from him, like climb tall buildings.
So that was
scale
the
on
whole
thing.
bit of it.
That was the whole bit. It was that he was, he was a pursuer.
Yes.
Even though she did not want that to happen.
Yeah.
So according to some of the articles that we're seeing, it's basically a scene where Pepe Le Pew was essentially.
Now, before you say this is not in the film anymore in Space Jam, right? Space Jam 2?
This is Space Jam 2.
But they took this out.
They took this out completely.
Okay, just wanted to let the listeners know because if there was going to be a spoiler or not. That's why. Okay.
It's out completely. It was in the original cut of it before, what is it? I think his name is Malcolm D. Lee, who's the new director for this movie. He cut this. Okay. This was under Terrence Nance, I think. He was the first director.
Okay.
But he left because of creative differences. So this was under his cut.
Okay.
But basically, it was a black and white Casablanca-like. This is coming from an article, Deadline.com. Black and white Casablanca-like Rick Cafe sequence where Pepe is playing a bartender and he's hitting on a woman at the bar, played by Santo. I don't know who that actress might be. But it's something, I think, Ugly Betty or something like that. I don't remember who the actress.
Let me see. Hold
last
on.
name Santo, I guess.
Oh, really?
I think.
Let me see. Cast.
But he begins kissing her arm, and she pulls back. Then she slams Pepe into the chair next to her. She pours a drink on Pepe, slaps him hard, sending him spinning in a stool, which is then stopped by LeBron James and Bugs Bunny. And they're both looking for Lola in this scene. So let's see. Pepe then tells the guys that Penelope, the cat, has filed a restraining order against him. Penelope is the cat's name. And James makes a remark in the script that Pepe can't grab other tunes without their consent. So this was a scene where LeBron James basically says, hey, stop doing this crap if people are telling you not to do it. This is an actual scene where he tells, the cartoon, the tune, hey, don't do this stuff without consent. Okay, so here's my take on this.
Okay.
It feels to me like the director took this out for a creative purpose, not because he felt like Pepe Le Pew needed to be canceled. I don't know. Again, this is just my assumption on how it feels like, but it kind of feels like cancel culture took advantage of this and jumped on it and be like, good, he got his what's coming. Like, he's finally getting that hit that he needs because Pepe Le Pew, we don't want kids nowadays to know who he is. He's a sexual harasser. He goes after women and follows them in a creepy way. And this kind of stuff isn't acceptable in society. And then you have people that are trying to back up Pepe Le Pew and be like, oh, well, I grew up with him and I watched him and you don't see me doing that. So what, are you guys afraid that you guys can't teach your kids to do the right thing and stuff like that? Well, I'm over here in the middle going like, it could be that the director just canceled this because he just didn't care for that scene.
That's the thing, yeah.
Yeah. Did you find the actress that was on there?
Yeah, she does. I don't think she was from Ugly Betty. That's the thing.
It's what? What's her name?
Her name is Grease Santo. Grease Santo, that's what she said.
Okay, yeah.
She looks like she's an up-and-coming actress.
Okay.
Yeah. The one movies that she is known for is Wild Card with Jason Statham and obviously Space Jam. So this is her second big role.
Okay. But I think it was her in that interview that she had. I don't know if it was her. I gotta, well, you guys can look it up on Google or something. But they kind of felt offended that they took that scene out because she was actually taking this opportunity, to kind of showcase and have that be an empowering scene. And
that's the thing. I thought the scene itself doesn't sound bad. In my opinion, that doesn't sound bad. They're addressing something. Yeah. They're addressing how this character is over the years, and now in today's standards, that doesn't fly. They were actually bringing in a agenda to that. Yeah. But it wasn't like pushed. It wasn't. That sounded just like a thing. Like, okay, cool, yeah. Like how these characters are still over the years, and how would people react now? Yeah. Of how they are, and Pepe Le Pew is one. That they could have addressed and said, oh yeah, like that could have been a great opportunity to honestly change Pepe Le Pew's persona, but still keep him in the Looney Tunes world. Like, he doesn't have to do what he does now. He can still be Pepe Le Pew, but in a little different way.
I think you and I can both agree that, you know, culture changes over the decades.
Yeah.
Like, you know, when we look back at the things that we grew up on, some of the stuff, like, I'm looking back now and be like, yeah, this wouldn't fly nowadays.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you know, okay, I'll tell you right now, I'm on this iCarly binge.
Yeah.
Okay, I got, you know, my fiance got Paramount Plus. I'm excited for the iCarly
I have
reboot.
Paramount Plus too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, it was great.
I have it as an add-on on Amazon.
Okay, but like I grew up on iCarly. And I love the show, so I'm watching all of it through until the reboot comes out, or it's a reboot.
Is it a reboot they're doing?
Yeah,
but isn't Jeanette McCurdy not doing it?
She said in her podcast that she's no longer going to be acting. She quit
she
that.
took
So
a break from acting. Yeah.
I'll put it this way, little tangent. There's a tangent that we were talking about.
Tangent time.
She said that she's quitting acting, but I kind of get the feeling that if the show picks up steam and does well, she'll make an appearance because she was an essential character in the show.
Oh, definitely.
Because right now it's just Jerry, Miranda, and Nathan.
Yeah.
They're the three there. And so then the way the show is going to be kind of like progressing forward is their adulthood lives.
Now, is this continuing on with the show creator Dan Schrader?
No, he's gone.
Yeah,
but keep in mind of what he did.
Yes.
Okay. So he's out of there.
Good.
And that's where, you know, we'll mention that in terms of like the canceling stuff.
You know what's funny is, okay, little thing. It was brought into light of what he was doing, but no one really like explored it more
until later.
That's the thing.
But that's what I'm talking about is that, you know, certain things don't fly.
Yeah.
If you look back at iCarly now, some of the stuff that they did back then. And this isn't that long ago. This is like a little over 10 years.
Yeah, this was like 2011, 2010. Yeah.
So keep in mind, these kids are high schoolers, and when they check a girl out, they're like, oh yeah, she's hot. But it's like, okay, nowadays, I wouldn't even say that to someone that I don't even know. Like if I wasn't, you know, if I was single and stuff like that, and, you know, I was interested in someone, I wouldn't be like, oh yeah, that chick's hot to someone else, because it kind of feels disrespectful in a way.
Also, too, if you look at most of Dan Schrader's not productions, but shows that he created, all of the actors at some point show their feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
And these are young kids, mind you. This is not like Quentin Tarantino status, but it's like, oh yeah, you know, it's funny. Oh yeah, he has like a Margot Robbie
it's a little. It's not a little. It's weird.
It's very blatant, and it never hit me because it was like, okay, that's the stupid humor of it. I'm showing you my feet and stuff like that, or you're sticking your feet and stuff. That's the stupid humor of the show. No, that was because of Dan Schrader.
Yeah. But you see
how
as culture evolves, you notice these things, and those things aren't acceptable, right?
No.
But
you're exploiting children at that point.
Exactly. So that's where it's like, you know, definitely like cut that out.
Yeah, but no one really. It wasn't like a main thing. It wasn't like the talk of like the news. No one really back then. That's the thing.
And now, you know, because they're moving with this iCarly reboot with a new production or with a new producer.
Yeah.
So it's going to be completely different, but they're going to take elements from the show back then to kind of move it forward.
Yeah.
But in that sense, like you look at these shows back then, and you know you compare it to stuff now, and these things change. Same thing with Pepe Le Pew. Going back to him, it's like, you know, the things that we saw him do back in the 70s, 80s, and even 90s in the Looney Tunes cartoons, that stuff doesn't fly now.
There's a lot of stuff that in the Looney Tunes cartoons, when you look at it, it's really not meant for children, but it's because it was animated in a funny way. People automatically assumed it was meant for younger children. But that's not the case. It was never meant for that, because you see all of these characters, they're either smoking, drinking.
Do you remember the scene? You said it, and I want to catch that before you forget it.
Yeah.
The scene, it's a very popular scene because they were trying to use it to kind of like exploit Tom and Jerry, but it's the one where Tom basically sees this. He's in like a cowboy getup, and he sees a girl cat.
Yeah.
The white girl cat. And so he like rolls up his cigar and like smokes it and is like, oh, so cool and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was back then.
Yeah.
But if like he tries to act fly or act super cool with someone else, nowadays he doesn't do the whole cigar thing.
No.
Like that was back then. To look cool, you smoke a cigar, you lean your back on
you're
the,
an
like
adult.
a thing.
Yeah.
And nowadays it's more like, oh, you know, hair back, you know, dress nice, look smooth, like all this other stuff. So again, it's culture evolving, and it's how, you know, it's how it's perceived.
Yeah.
So to literally say, hey, you know what? Lee took out the Pepe Le Pew scene because he's trying to cancel him. I think that's looking at it the wrong way.
No.
I mean, if you don't like what he does, no one's telling you that you're not wrong.
Yeah.
And people that are defending him being like, you guys are just a bunch of snowflakes. You guys are wrong too. You guys are like not.
Everyone's kind of
Everyone's like wrong and
here.
not wrong at the same time.
No. I think if anything, people are not really truly understanding the situation. They're seeing one side of it that benefits what they're trying to say. And I think that's where we get into a tiff with people when you talk about stuff like this, that there's people are not really are willing to look at both sides. They're willing to look at their facts, their opinions, and say, that's wrong, this is wrong, there's no other way.
It's like you automatically cancel something that you don't like.
Yeah.
I'll give you two different examples of like why I think it's not okay to like look at something and be like, I don't like that, get the thing out of my face.
Yeah.
So I grew up, and we talked about this before the podcast. I grew up on a bunch of 80s actions movies. You know, I was 5, 7 years old, and my dad would be playing Rambo, Predator, Terminator on Telemundo, which is a Spanish channel, and we would watch these movies in Spanish. If you guys have not seen it, these movies are bloody, and they are, you know, things that a 7-year-old probably shouldn't watch.
Yeah.
But I grew up on them, and I feel like I grew up perfectly fine. But because my dad constantly told me, hey, you know what? These things are fake. No one's head gets blown up that way. It's not okay to bust a kneecap. It's not okay to act a certain way. And so mentally, you know, thankfully, I had parents that helped me understand what was acceptable and what wasn't. And mentally, I was understanding what was fake and what was real. When you start canceling things left and right because you don't agree with it, you're essentially canceling what we perceive, you know, like, not to say like we're canceling history and like, you know, you're forgetting being like, oh, well, you know what, this is a historical thing and stuff like that. But you're essentially taking away opportunities to teach the next generation about how culture evolves. I guess that's like the better way of putting it.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
No, definitely. Yeah, because it's the same thing as like the reason why we learn history the way we do is so that if we don't know what happened in the past, we are doomed to repeat it again.
Bing. Yes.
You know, that's why we learn about slavery and the Civil War. We know how wrong that was.
Yeah.
We learn that as when we grow up, we're taught it's wrong because it was.
Okay, devil's advocate. Well, you realize that when history is written, depending on where it is written and who's writing it, can be perceived as both bad and good. And, you know, you just don't know because your sources could be wrong and stuff. There's always these excuses, right?
There's always excuses.
But that's where, and I feel like most people that are just kind of like on that spot trying to cancel.
But I feel like if people are giving excuses, then I feel like they truly don't understand. Both sides of it.
Let's not say that they don't understand. I would actually feel more comfortable saying that they don't want to do more homework on the topic.
That's more likely. Okay.
Yeah, it's like they refuse to cross-reference and they refuse to look at different things and, you know, different sources and say like, okay, this is one thing that's saying and that's another thing that we're saying. I was looking up some articles and it's funny because depending on what site you go on, the headline's completely different for this. So Fox News reports it as like like literally their headline is a celebrity rips on cancel culture. But then you look at other ones like Deadline or CBR or, you know, things like that. And their headline is Pepe Le Pew canceled because of this. So it's like their headlines are trying to be, their perception is different. Yeah. But that's where you start to look into different places and seeing what exactly happened.
That's why we always encourage people, do your research before you read one article.
Yes.
Because if you just read one article about certain things, you're going to go off of what that article told you. And if you look at multiple ones, you're going to get different, like you said, different perspectives.
Yeah. So the writing in the article could have some bias in it. Could be bias, it could be not. But the thing that doesn't have the bias as much as the written article are the quotations. The quotes taken directly from people that they might be interviewed. Depending on how it's cut up, you can have some bias there. But then you look at it and you say that, you know, Pepe Le Pew was canceled because of probably a creative difference that the director did not want to have in his version of the movie. Now, cancel culture took it upon themselves and say, like, we're going to use that as an opportunity to show off and say, hey, we're on this. You want your Space Jam 2? Well, we're not going to have it your guys' way. We're going to have it our way, which isn't the case. They didn't do any work. This was all Lee's work in canceling it, you know? Funny enough, the other Looney Tune that's trying to get canceled, and I think, the person stopped it, Speedy Gonzales.
Yeah.
I love Speedy.
I don't mind Speedy Gonzales. It's great to see, a variety of characters, especially one being in a Hispanic sort of sense, not represented, but like just shown in the Looney Tunes world.
Yeah.
That's fair.
It's yes. Now I'll say I'm not Mexican descent.
Yeah.
I'm from Guatemala.
Yeah.
But he is, or not. I'm not from Guatemala, but I'm from Guatemalan descent.
Yes.
I love Speedy, not because of what he looked like or what he perceived.
No.
He was a badass Looney Tune.
Oh yeah, he was super fast.
The freaking cats that would go after him.
Yeah.
Like he literally, I forget the cat's name. I know Sylvester is one of them.
Oh yeah.
But like literally, he would be like,
"Fuckerin, suck a pile."
That's a good one. That was a good Sylvester. But he would like trick him, and he's like, because he was the
clever.
fastest mouse in Mexico.
Clever. Yeah.
He's fantastic. Like he was clever. It's like, oh well, he'll just stand there and go like, yeah, you can't catch me. Run. Yeah. Roadrunner too. Roadrunner didn't need to speak, and she was fast.
Yeah.
She was great.
Roadrunner was a she.
Yeah, I think it's a she.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
totally shattered my universe. Just kidding.
love Roadrunner.
Yes.
But it's funny because they tried canceling Speedy by saying like, oh, this is a very bad representation of Mexican culture. How dare you,
I think even in the Mexican community, they even love Speedy Gonzales.
They don't care.
Right.
It's like I get it. Maybe it's maybe it's not seen enough because maybe they don't want to speak. I can't speak for them. I'm just gonna say that I've never heard of a problem.
That's the thing. In all my life, I grew up with a lot of, Hispanic people in my life and stuff. And never have I ever heard of anyone ever complaining about Speedy Gonzales in my experience.
My fiance is from Mexican descent, and I don't want to speak for her because I don't want to put words in her mouth, but I think she's told me she has no issue with Speedy Gonzales either. So it's confusing because it's like they're trying to cancel Speedy when it seems like not a lot of people have a problem with it. Guess who's voicing Speedy Gonzales?
One of the greatest Hispanic comedians of all time.
In our generation.
In our generation.
Fantastic, because
Gabriel Iglesias.
Yes, and it's like...
Not to mention, I love him, and him voicing Speedy Gonzales is great. That's such a good milestone in his career.
I can't put his voice to the face yet.
Yeah.
But I know that with Iglesias'
he speaks
comedy.
Fast, that's the thing.
Yes.
He has the capability of talking fast.
Did you ever watch his special on Netflix where he does that whole radio bit?
Oh,
a radio host having sex or something like that. And he speaks really fast. Now that you said it, I can't wait to hear him say that I'm so super fast.
You know what's funny? That's one of the movies that's underrated out of all these HBO movies coming out that I'm really excited for is Space Jam 2 now. I wasn't at first, but when I seen the footage and I've seen who they cast and who's part of it, where they're going with it, it makes me have that love again of just excited for Space Jam. I want to rewatch Space Jam again.
I recently showed my fiance Space Jam last year because she's never seen it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's so great because again, Disney is the empowering company that takes over things. Disney is everything. Yeah. So I'm so happy that we get the Looney Tunes back, It's so great. I grew up on the Looney Tunes more than I did with Disney. Bugs and Daffy.
I was half and half.
You were half and half?
Yeah.
Okay.
I grew up, if anything, I will have to say I lean towards Disney more, but I was aware because of Space Jam, the Looney Tunes.
I was more Warner Brothers than anything. I was full on DC, Animaniacs. I was the Looney Tunes, Speedy and Roadrunner.
Yeah. Was it WB for kids?
Yeah,
when they had that with
Static Shock,
Freakazoid.
Yep.
The Animaniacs, like you said, Pinky and the Brain.
It's all these shows, and so I'm so happy that Space Jam 2 is a thing, and I'm so happy that Speedy. I didn't even know Speedy was in it. And
that's the thing. He was only shown in the first one. He didn't even have a speaking part.
No,
he was just shown in the first one. That was it.
But he's voiced by Iglesias.
So that's another thing as well too. Because of the first movie of Space Jam, they only did the big characters: Daffy Duck, Big Bugs Bunny, Tasmanian Taz, and then, Sylvester was part of it. Was it Tweety Bird was part of it as well too.
Yep.
They had a lot of speaking parts because they were the big ones.
Yeah.
All the other ones like Speedy Gonzalez, Pepe Le Pew had like a few parts, not a lot.
I can't remember the rooster's name.
Yeah, the rooster only had like maybe 3 or 4 lines. That was it. But that's the thing is like now they know like okay, we've done the big ones. Marvin the Martian, he only had one part.
I
he was
named
the
this
referee.
planet the name of Mars.
So yes, if you don't have a new player, your team automatically forfeits the game. That's
so
legitimately
great.
what he said.
Yeah, it's so great. And you know what? I'll be honest with you. I'm so glad that
Yeah.
these Looney Tunes have been more apparent now because like
Yes.
they even have their own show on HBO Max.
It's because of also we've progressed more as a culture to show these characters more because of Speedy Gonzalez. He's a Hispanic character, so they want to give him a little bit more shine now. You know?
And the reason I mentioned Speedy is because Gabriel Iglesias tweeted out and not ripped on cancel culture, but called them out by kind of going like, your guys are kind of dumb for trying to cancel Speedy because he's not even offended by this. So his tweet reads, "I'm the voice of Speedy Gonzalez in the new Space Jam. Does this mean they're going to try and cancel Fluffy too? You can't catch me, cancel culture. I'm the fastest mouse in all of Mexico."
Yes.
And he tweeted a little gif of Speedy Gonzalez.
Yes.
It's like, okay, like, again, a person that I feel is legitimate, you know, he's a legitimate representation, like a good representative of like, you know, if Speedy is offensive or not, is basically telling you, hey, chill.
Yeah.
Then chill.
And that's the thing. It's also like it's not like they're getting a white person to do the voice of Speedy Gonzalez. I think that would like the internet would just rivet that movie
Because
so
they're
much.
missing out on opportunities.
Yeah, but yet we have Gabriel Iglesias, a very beloved comedian in the Hispanic community, doing that role. Just shows that okay, no, they're treating this character with respect.
Look, as far as casting decisions go,
Yes.
if there are like and this is I'm touching like a very touchy subject here. I'm not a fan of like forcing representation in certain places. If a character doesn't fit somewhere, then you know it just feels forced.
If you're just doing it for the sake of representation and not fleshing out this character for your story, but just showing that no, we have this character because you know they're black or Hispanic or they're you know of Asian descent and stuff like that. One perfect example that shows, as we said, diversity, and I think we said it in the past, but I will mention it because it is the perfect pivoted way to show a character and just write him as a character is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
Miles Morales. He is now a beloved character, but it wasn't because he was black. It's because he was written really well, shown in a really good light. They treated that character just as he was normal. They didn't even push the whole look. He's black, but then also has Hispanic descent as well too. Which again, you know, we've talked about it. People also dwell on the fact that he's black. And
that's the high point.
Yeah, and
he's black, and he's
Yeah.
black. It's like, okay, we're forgetting that he's Hispanic. He's Puerto Rican or Cuban?
I want to say he's
Puerto
Rican.
Okay.
Yes.
It's one or the other. I know it's
Again,
like there's a
guys,
C on there.
yeah, I don't want to
Look it up.
I'll look it up. Okay.
But yeah, you're right. It's like that's the thing. It's like, oh, he's a black character. It's like, well, he's got that Hispanic, you know, background as well. You ever watch the show Big Mouth?
Yes. No, like a few episodes.
A few episodes. Okay. Did you know that they changed the actress that plays Missy?
Oh yeah?
Yeah, because she was voiced by someone that wasn't black, and so they replaced her in the last episode that with a black actress. Now, here's the thing, and this is going back to that point again. Very touchy subject. Oh, the energy drink's coming up now. Oh man, I'm getting all like worked up here. So it's like, oh, okay. So I was not a fan of how the audience was interpreting this because you had automatic hate for the recasting and then you had blind support for the recasting. The blind support were people that were never watching the show.
Oh, he is okay. So he's Black American and also Puerto Rican. His mother's Puerto Rican.
Okay, so we got that. We settled it. But the what was I talking about? Oh, so you know the blind audience that never seen the show, we're just blindly supporting this because finally we're getting representation and all this other stuff. And it's like, but you guys have never seen the show.
Yeah.
So you don't know what kind of character Missy is.
Yeah.
And then the people that were against it are like, oh, but the actress who was playing Missy was so good at this and all this other stuff. And, how dare you change and all this stuff. I'm in the middle and going like, how about we just watch until the change happens to see how it is?
Yeah.
Because again, if the recast does a good job at playing the role of a character that we've already seen for the past 3 seasons, I have no issue with it. But if it's a forced recast and it doesn't play well, then you're starting to have a problem with how the story is being told. And at that point, it's like, you're trying to fit a puzzle piece where it doesn't fit. And this isn't to say that I'm being disrespectful to the actress or, the roles and stuff like that or representation. It's more like, if you're going to do this, you have to put in just enough work to make sure it fits right.
Yeah.
When they did the recast, the new voice for Missy, I forget her name. I'll look it up right now, but she did a good job. I did not mind it. I felt like the voice was a little bit off because she does have a very high, like, wheezy voice.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can try to get it. It's like, she talks like... No, I can't do it.
No.
No, I can't. But she talks with a high, wheezy voice.
Yeah.
And, that was the last 3 seasons. Then the new actress shows up, and she's got that wheezy voice still, but it feels forced but not as high. And so my thought was like, okay, if they're doing that, maybe they can say that she's starting to hit puberty because she is a middle schooler, right? But they didn't reference it. So it kind of threw me off in a way where it's like, we're not going to address it. We're not, because I love it when like a show breaks the fourth wall by like saying, oh yeah, they like recast it or did something like that.
Yeah. They make it known.
Yeah. iCarly,
fun,
do you remember in season 2 when Nathan gets his like puberty and his voice gets deeper?
It gets deeper, yeah.
They referenced it.
No, they did.
And that's not like, again, not, that wasn't any form of representation, but they broke that boundary to address it because it is an issue.
They did the same thing when Chris Pine's character from Parks and Rec, because he's playing Star-Lord, he has to get fit, right?
Yeah.
In Parks and Rec, obviously Andy went from a chubby guy to a more leaner looking
looking dude.
And then they even reference, I think it was what was his name? What's his character? The one that dates Leslie in the show in Parks and Rec.
Oh, Ben.
Ben, yeah, Ben asks Andy, like, how did you lose weight? And Andy retorts, says, I just stopped drinking beer. It's just like,
but they reference it so they know that they're not just skipping over it.
Yeah.
So that's what it is that it's like, if you're going to do this, you got to make it so that the audience, because again, I understand representation is a big issue. And yes, for me, it came down to Poe Dameron.
Yeah.
He's from Guatemalan descent. Oh, he's one of my favorite characters in the Star Wars universe. I don't care how badly he was written in The Last Jedi or how badly he was portrayed in Rise of Skywalker. Or was it Rise of Skywalker?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's from Guatemalan descent. I adore that man, and I hope I could get to meet him one day because he's representing my background now. It's not just, Mexicans out there in big cinema. He's Guatemalan. Yeah. Just like, what's his name? Because it's Oscar Isaac, and then Pedro Pascal.
Yeah.
He's Chilean.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the representation.
Great. Yeah.
You got a Chilean actor, you got a Guatemalan actor. Hispanics are dominating the sci-fi universe. This is great stuff. This is the representation that we need. And so I understand how representation can be impactful. But when you're trying to put representation in things that are already existent, you got to address it in a way that makes the audience understand that that they're not just being looked over, and so that's where I feel like, this is where it matters, right? I know we
we really dwelled
far off
on Speedy Gonzalez, which is fine. I mean, I think because we can talk more about Speedy Gonzalez because of you and I are both of a Hispanic descent. That we can dwell on that a little bit more. I think that's why we touched on it. Yeah.
So Missy was played by Jenny Slate, and they replaced her with a writer, comedian, Ayo Edebire, or something like. I can't pronounce that last name. Edebire, I believe. This is from entertainment.com.
And what is their culture background?
Huh?
What is their culture background?
She's black.
Oh, okay.
I want to say, yeah.
And that's why people were...
Because Missy was black and Jenny Slate wasn't.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So, and Big Mouth is a fantastic show if no one's seen it. It tackles a lot of like, it's very relatable.
Isn't it a show created by Nick Kroll?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nick Kroll and, what's his name? Tall Jewish guy. I forget his name. There's a lot of Jewish
What
comedians
movies?
out there.
What movies is
His stand-up, he wears suits. He why can I
John
not?
Mulaney?
John, thank you.
Okay.
Mulaney. I don't know.
Jewish and suits. And I was like,
That's what gave it away. It's like, oh, John Mulaney. I love John Mulaney. I love him.
John Mulaney is one of those people that's just you love. It's funny how now this generation and then our generation just took John Mulaney in because we love his humor so much.
Because he looks young. Yeah. So a lot of people can relate to him, but he's so daddish that it's like, even if you don't have kids, you're like, yeah, I can relate to you.
He's that dad.
He's that dad that you're like, yeah, that's the kind of dad I'm eventually going to be or hope that you could be kind of thing. It's great. But yeah, it's Nick Kroll and John Mulaney who are the big names on there.
Cool. John Mulaney has touched on a lot. He was also a writer for SNL.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
No, it's
He's
again.
had a wide
You
career.
have to watch Big Mouth because it's such a good show that hits you a lot in that you can relate to it heavily because like everyone went through the problems that these kids are going through.
You know, just really quick. You know, John Mulaney wrote some of from if you guys remember Weekend Update when Bill Hader was on SNL when he played the character Stefan. Sorry, John Mulaney wrote most of his stuff.
Oh my God! Hey guys, so there's a new club band.
And then
we're doing the little hand
I know
thing.
we're doing the little hand things, you know. But I loved, the whole time why Bill Hader will put his hands over his mouth is to hide his smiling.
Because oh my God,
he is such okay. I love Bill Hader to death.
Bill Hader,
but Bill Hader is the worst SNL actor because he breaks character so much.
But that's what makes him lovable.
But that's what makes him amazing, though. That's the thing. But him, Andy Samberg, also, who else? Who else breaks a lot? Chris Kattan, and then Pete Davidson are the notorious for breaking on camera, but they can't because they're live. Yeah. So they're just they're always holding their face around and stuff. Or they'll and Jimmy Fallon, they'll turn their head back and just start going like this and stuff.
So Jimmy Fallon annoys me when he breaks camera. I love him to death.
Yeah.
You know, part because I like his work, but also because we share the same birthday.
He's a great host for the Tonight Show and stuff. He's a great host, but when it comes to acting, he's good, but at the same time
you could try a little harder to not break character.
You know, there's one movie I do like that he is in, and that's Fever Pitch with Drew Barrymore.
Yeah.
That's one of the great that's a really good love romantic comedy movie.
Yeah.
That I like that he's done.
We went from representation to John Mulaney.
Because John Mulaney is great, guys. If you guys don't agree, fight. Just kidding. No, I'm kidding.
Let's go back to the topic I had.
Okay.
So we've got a couple more examples that we want to reference because, oh my God, there was so much canceling going on these last week and a half.
There's so much canceling. We're reaching 56 minutes, just to let you know.
Holy crap,
we
man.
talked about, I think it was a good 40 minutes of also just Speedy Gonzalez.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's
Speedy's
fine.
a good one.
Yeah.
But there was more talks about, certain things going on with cancel culture.
Yeah.
And I think the main topic, and we're gonna try to wrap up this with, the idea at the end of this, and maybe you'll agree with me, but Bill Burr recently came out in an interview trying to defend Gina Carano.
Yes.
I think her name is, right?
Uh-huh.
And in this interview, essentially, he was addressing how quickly let me see if I can find the article. How quickly they got her out of there.
Yeah.
And how he feels he should now be portraying himself in terms of when he's on screen and stuff like that. So I'm only going to read his quotes because I feel like the articles kind of take a side and it feels like, again, this is where the bias shows in. But essentially, and I'm not going to cuss because this is a non-cussing podcast.
Yes.
So I'm sorry. I know Eric recently said to you, he was like, I love when Rene, cusses. We're trying to keep this PG, PG-13.
It's just sometimes words slip.
Yeah.
But we're reading a quote, so that's why.
You got 3 more weeks until you can use the next F word.
Yeah.
So, so Bill Burr, in quotes, basically says, she was an absolute sweetheart. And again, speaking about Gina. Oh, excuse me. Oh my God, man.
Yeah,
It was a good energy drink, but still, yeah. Super nice, effing person. And you know what? And whatever. Somehow someone will take this video and effing make me say something else and try to get rid of my bald action figure. Then he goes on and says, I'm on that effing show. Now I got to watch what the F I say. How it is out there. It's effing crazy time. There's people waiting, just laying in the weeds. Let's just show that that he's human and he's made a mistake in his past to take that dream away. I'm talking about okay, we'll leave it there. Yeah, because I don't think anything else really matters. He kind of goes on when Bill Burr cusses, he like legitimately like puts a cuss word in every other sentence. Yeah. But yeah, he basically was referencing to the fact that like now he's got to be careful because whatever he says, that's it. He can get canceled and stuff like that. Yeah. Okay. Let's start by addressing this. Gina's post was in no way acceptable. Can we agree on that?
Yes, we can agree on that. It was very, very kind of like you could have worded that a lot better.
You could have just not posted it.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Just don't. Knowing the intensity of the online media space, don't. And this isn't to silence anyone from their opinion.
No, we're not saying that. It's just at the same time, if you're going to post something that could make negative traction, has the possibility, maybe you should think about it before. Sit on it for a bit. Then because a lot of people on social media, especially just anyone, including famous people, well-known people, you and I, when we hear stuff that's happening in the world or just see something that's happening in the world or somewhat get told what's going on, we have that knee-jerk reaction to post our opinion or our thoughts right then and there. Our first thoughts.
We're doing that now.
Yeah. But we're also taking the time to kind of like, let's gradually tell people about our thoughts and stuff like that. When you want to do something like that, I'm all for like saying what you want to say, go for it, but really, really think about it before you put it out there. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's not the same where it's like you're talking to someone, having a conversation where you can say that right then and there, but then also have an hour or longer to basically conversate and then work around like, I see what you mean. Yeah, you told me the way I said it wasn't right, or the way I came off, I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
The internet's not like that. You put something out there, it's for everyone to see and how they take it and how they're going to react to it.
It's a double-edged sword.
Yes.
It's a double-edged sword because you have the space to freely express what you want.
Yes.
But with that said, people can use that against you because if it's a bad take on something, you're going to be exposed.
And that's the thing. You're not telling a certain group of people in your circle. You're telling millions and millions of people that have access to your social media and or have ways to see what you've posted. You have many peoples with different ideologies, different in different groups as well too, that have the same ideologies as well too. And sometimes not everyone's going to agree with what you think. Not everyone's going to agree what you say. Not everyone's going to be like, what you say is a universal thing. They're like, oh yeah, no, there's going to be people that don't agree with it, on both sides of it.
It's funny because like we are putting ourselves in danger in a way. Like, granted, we only get like a couple listeners here and there on the podcast and stuff, but who knows? Maybe this will blow up. Maybe it won't. It'll reach a wider audience. But with that said, it's like, we also got to be careful of what we say and stuff like that. Not that we have any hostile takes on anything, but it's, and I think this will go with the idea that I want to touch on this. It's very aggressive cancel culture. It's like they will take certain things out of context and basically say like, hey, you're wrong. You need to shut up and you're done. Like at whatever you're doing, we're canceling you because you're done. And go ahead.
Finish yours.
Okay. It's aggressive cancel culture because I understand if the company can do whatever they want. The company can go ahead and fire Gina for posting what she did. You know,
They have that ability to do that.
Exactly, because they don't want to have that bad representation. By all means, go for it and do that because you're a business and have every right to do so. But when cancel culture goes in and essentially says like Gina was bad, get rid of Cara Dunn. Why would you want to do that? What did Cara Dunn do? What did that sounds
Cara
weird.
Dunn
What did she do in the show that was offensive? She was portrayed by someone that was an asshole probably, but her character in a way, I think she was badass. I freaking loved her character.
She was a great character.
She was a great character,
Yeah.
strong, independent. She knew what she was fighting for, and she had a very close attachment to Alderaan, which was fantastic because we haven't seen that in most of the Star Wars stuff.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So I don't want to cancel Cara Dunn,
No.
but I would
There's
be
no reason to cancel Cara Dunn.
No. And so it's
Of
like
the character.
of the
Yeah.
character.
Yeah.
As far as the actress goes, I don't agree with what she
Yeah,
said.
if she never comes back, that's fine. If she never comes back to do Cara Dunn, I'm fine with that because her character wasn't left off with like, oh, you know, she's gonna progress more in the series. No, they just legitly kind of like had her there, had her involved, and it just that's it pretty much from there. The Mando can just go on and you know make friends with other people and stuff like that.
So then why the hell does cancel culture feel the need to say like, how about we kill her off? Kill that bee off. We don't want her there.
Because I feel cancel culture has evolved to a more kind of like a malicious kind of vibe where people are only satisfied if they see that either a character or a person is just completely out of the picture entirely.
Can you and I both agree that Cara Dunn's character is her story's over?
Yeah.
We don't have to see her again?
No, because she's a sheriff of what is it? The planet of Tatooine, not
Tatooine, but it's on the Outer Rim.
Yeah, so she's the sheriff, and we can never. That's fine. She's sheriff of that town. We don't need to see her again.
Mando doesn't need to go back. We don't need to see her anymore.
There's no mention of her. We don't really need to mention her again.
He goes back because what's his name? He directed the badass episode, the heist.
God, I forgot his name.
You know who I'm talking about, though.
Yeah, Apollo. Apollo. We'll just say Apollo.
You want to look it up real
Creed,
quick because
yeah.
I don't want to be rude. But if he ever goes back to that planet and visits him, okay, if you don't have Cara Dunn there anymore, you don't have to say she died in a battle. You can say that basically she went on a mission. Keep her alive. There is no need to basically kill off someone. Carl Weathers.
Grief Gargan.
Yes.
That's his character.
If they go back and visit him and, you know, Cara Dunn is still there, she could be off on a mission. She could not be, you know, mentioned anymore. She could be like referenced and be like, oh yeah, she went somewhere and that's it. But there is no need to kill her off.
No.
And that's where I kind of understand where Bill Burr's coming from. I like Bill Burr. I like his comedy. And
I like his comedy too. His comedy is not. It's not I mean, it's edgy, but it's not to the point where it's one-sided. He actually what he does in his comedy is that he'll take a sort of like social kind of like
a very edgy topic, but make you see both sides of it. He'll make you see like, no, it is wrong, but you need to know that people will exaggerate it. Yeah.
You know,
and he stands. Have you noticed that he stands on the right side of like some things?
Yeah.
Like if he'll reference stuff like, you know, he talks about like being aggressive and stuff like that, and that he has anger issues and stuff. Okay, we love his comedy because he's a very angry bald man.
Yeah.
Like no offense to him. That's his whole thing.
He also gets, you know, asked about like if women in comedy should strive. He goes like, why do you guys need to ask me that? If you are a woman and you're in comedy, go and do it. Do it.
Yeah.
Because you guys have that freedom to do it. You don't need my kind
take on it.
You know, my take on it, because I can't do that. You know, you guys need to do that.
But yet he'll put it in his bits and still be on the right side of it and be like, why do I get asked these questions?
Yeah.
Why are you like putting these things on me? Again, with his anger issues, it's not right to be angry to the point that you get violent, but he addresses that and says like, it's not healthy for me and it's not healthy for society because you know, I don't want to look at the world mad. I don't want to be angry all the time, but he's still funny when he talks about his angry little stunts and little things and stuff like that. So he addresses it, but again, that's what he's talking about. It's like he's got to be, and again, if you're in the public space, yes, you have to be very aware of what you're talking about what you're saying out there and all this other stuff, right? But if things are taken out of context to basically try and cancel someone, that's where the danger comes from. People can pull segments off our issue today, essentially, and say like, oh, well, these guys completely agree with all the bad behavior that's happening out there in society.
That's not the case.
If you're cutting segments off this issue and not telling people, hey, go listen to this and see what you think of the overall picture, you are hurting cancel culture more than helping it out. I'm sorry, but if you're one of those people, you are not making a movement. You are just causing problems.
Yeah.
There is a reason.
You're just stirring the pot.
Exactly. There is a procedure and a way to call people out and saying that they're wrong. You know, another Disney thing. Disney Plus now basically took away a bunch of old Disney movies away from children's accounts. Children under 7 cannot watch Peter Pan or Dumbo, these old school movies, because of the things that were put in those movies.
Yes.
Okay. Oh man, I'm sorry. I just hyped myself all the way up here and now I completely like went over my head.
That's funny.
But basically, you know, it's I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Because it's not canceling, you know, the entirety of these classic movies.
Yeah.
What it's doing is giving you a way to show younger generations about the things that are right and the things that are wrong that have evolved in culture from back then to now.
Yes.
Right?
Definitely.
And what cancel culture is doing with things like, you know, what Bill Burr is essentially stating right here is that it's very lazy methods of trying to redirect culture in the right direction. I feel like most people are really comfortable in saying, you know, if we want to cancel something because we don't agree with it, it's because I don't want to have to teach my kids later down the line that this stuff isn't acceptable.
Then that's not, that you shouldn't use cancel culture in that way.
No.
That's the thing.
It's, you know, you're erasing important things. Not that I want it to be there so that it's there so I can watch it and enjoy it and all this stuff.
No.
But you're essentially erasing tools that you could use to teach other people, you know, future generations and stuff, that culture and society have evolved.
Yeah.
You know?
Again, like we said in the beginning of this I said in the beginning of this podcast, there's a reason why we need to learn history so we're not doomed to repeat it. That's the thing. So
I like Disney's method in essentially pulling some Disney movies out of children's accounts.
They're not the reason why is it's a smart idea is because they're technically not getting rid of it altogether. They are just basically showing, oh, well, this has mature parts in this movie. Like in Dumbo, obviously Dumbo gets drunk drinking alcoholic water and then has like basically a drunk fever dream. The
crows?
Yeah. And the crows as well too. Yeah. That's the thing.
Peter Pan, the Indians are red-skinned.
Yes.
Yeah. So do you notice that wasn't like a big deal to a lot of people? Like media kind of pushed it for a couple days and everyone was just kind of like, I mean, people were commenting on it like pretty badly. Yeah. But like a lot of people that are in that kind of cancel culture society just didn't reference it as much because it's selective cancel culture.
Again, people, and I think we talked about it where it's funny how Disney has a lot of things like that for cancel culture, but no one's really pushing that.
Because they love Disney.
And it's selective cancel culture.
Yeah.
Where we all agree, though, like there is some stuff that Disney has done in the past, but again, we're not canceling Disneyland. No one's canceling going to
the company or anything
like that because now they changed, you know. Obviously, they're doing more stuff now, more representation, they've grown. You know, but again, you know, no one wants to admit to their mistakes. No one wants to show their mistakes. Yeah. So that just kind of shows you like, okay.
I've seen the extremes of this, and this isn't calling anyone out in particular, but I've seen extremes of like, you know, where representation is taken out of like context, and they're saying like, you know, because Raya came out, was it like almost a week and a half ago? Yeah. Or a week ago?
Funny story really quick. I have access to watch Raya now. I wasn't going to get it, but because...
You've betrayed me.
No.
You bought into the $30 premium pass. Who convinced you?
No.
Who told you?
It was a mistake because my girlfriend, Mandy, was babysitting kids at her house.
Did the kids buy it by accident?
The kids bought it by accident. My card is connected to it.
Wait, how do you buy it by accident?
So the kid didn't know any better. He wanted to watch it, and he thought what he was playing was buy.
There's no child protection on this?
No, that's the thing as well.
And we're not
too.
going to call out Disney on that?
No, that's the thing. So I was like out $30, but luckily Maddie sent me the money. And
Hold
stuff.
up. Excuse me?
Yeah.
There's literally child protection on every other thing, and we're not going to include it on Disney Plus?
Nope. I guess not.
So we're not going to call him out on that. I'm going to call him out. I'm sorry you lost those $30.
Yeah. I originally wasn't going to buy it either. I was going to wait until June to watch it, but everyone else has I haven't watched it yet, but yet everyone's watched it.
Well, I want to watch it, but I'm not going to pay the $30 for it.
Give
And
me
then-
$5 and I'll give you my account.
What are you talking about? Disney could be listening here. They'd be like, oh, no account sharing.
Oh, did you hear about that?
Netflix.
Netflix is doing that?
Yeah.
Oh, man. They're like, I'm like, what took them so long?
Hey, I almost saw that. You almost cussed, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it.
Okay.
Don't you cuss.
Okay.
3 weeks or you're getting punished.
Okay, fine.
You're getting muted for 5 seconds next time.
I'm just gonna finish my energy drink.
What was it that I was saying again? Oh, going back to that tweet that I saw was that it was like so weird to me because it's like I guess it's like opposite cancel culture.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know what you want to call this, but I saw tweets where it's like if you don't watch Raya, then you're not supporting representation. So you like buy the like if you like what's $30
So
to
you're
you?
forcing me to watch something.
Yeah, and I'm like, no, it's not that I'm not liking the representation there. If
No.
anything, I'm glad.
No, me
because it's
too.
good. Pixar and Disney touch on a lot of great things. If it comes to
Yeah.
representation or emotional feelings,
Yeah.
life events and stuff like that, they do a fantastic job with some of their movies.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't want to spend $30. Oh, well, then share it with like some other people. I don't want to spend the extra money. But somehow people are saying, oh, if you don't buy it, then you're not with representation. Don't do that because you're hurting the actual stuff that's going on.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but how about just wait? I can wait a couple months to watch Raya. Do I want to watch it? Yes.
I don't have the $30 extra to splurge on that though. That's the thing.
Yeah, you were forced to give it up.
I was forced to give it up because someone of a child bought it. But again, I wasn't mad. I was like, oh, I guess I can watch Ryan now. I was just like, So I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it this weekend, and I'll give you my quick thoughts on it next.
I've
issue.
heard mixed reviews. I've heard that it's really good, and I've heard it's really bad.
I will say this: my girlfriend and my family have all said that it is pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't heard a medium. I've heard it's really good, and I've heard it's really bad.
My sister liked it. My niece liked it. My dad thought it was good.
Okay.
He didn't love it, but he goes, no, it was a good movie. It was
Is it Pixar?
animation.
It's not Pixar.
No, it's Disney.
Disney's animation.
So again, Disney's making us buy their production movies, but not Pixar. Disney, what's going on there?
I'll be real. Sometimes I prefer the Pixar movies over the Disney animation stuff.
Me too. Pixar.
Oh, I just got canceled for that.
Oh.
Hey, it was nice knowing you, Rene.
No, because there's great representation in Soul.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they did the same thing in other stuff.
I can't name it
Can't
yet.
name it yet, but it's
But
Disney.
it's there somewhere.
Somewhere.
Oh, that short with the kid.
The little dumpling thing.
There's the dumpling one.
Oh, Sanjay's Super Team.
No, it's the one that was. I
Sanjay's
don't
Super
know,
Team.
I don't know if they're.
Sanjay's Super Team.
It's not that one. It's the one where the director for this one for the short was using his experiences with having a kid with a mental disorder.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know if it was like autism or something like that, but
There was
I don't know if
also-
I said it correctly. If it was like a mental disorder or something else.
Just-
I know.
No.
Yeah.
And then there was also one that they made for the LGBTQ
Yeah.
community.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
good. That was actually a
representation.
really good one.
Yeah.
It's
Stuff's out there, but to wrap it up because I know we're over like an hour 15 at this point.
Yes.
Cancel culture is a double-edged sword because you are calling out people that do need to be called out.
Yes.
If it wasn't for
We're not discrediting cancel culture. We're mainly saying that it should be a thing, but at the same time, don't be so vicious.
yeah.
And also do your research.
If it wasn't for eagle-eyed people, not even eagle-eyed people, but like, observing the, the takes on, what's being out there and stuff like that, then we wouldn't have realized the kind of, behaviors that Gina was portraying out there in society and stuff like it. Some stuff is just not acceptable at all.
Yeah.
It's just not okay to use, your past
platform.
historical events as it's not okay to use past historical events and, with a great tragedy to reference something that is happening today that has no similar value.
No.
With the platform that you have, you got to use it responsibly.
Yes.
If you're an anti-masker in times that we needed to mask up, I get it. Maybe you don't want to use it and stuff like that.
If you don't believe that, that's fine. That's your opinion.
That's your take.
That's your take.
But you got to realize that most of, the communities out there want to be safe. I have a lot of friends that are going to continue using masks out in public because they haven't gotten sick in over a year, and there's no judgment there. So when it comes to cancel culture, if anything, like, I don't feel like they need to rebrand the name or anything like that, because they shouldn't be forced to do so. But, if you're aggressively going after things like, Pepe Le Pew and Speedy without knowing the full context and stuff like that, and aggressively trying to cancel things that have no reference to it, like, Gina and Cara Dunn, then you're losing the purpose of what it is to keep people in check in a manner of way. There's certain behaviors that need to be understood that are not acceptable. You talked about Dan Schneider. And his stuff that he was posting, or that he was putting out there with his shows that he was developing for Nickelodeon. That stuff's not acceptable. That stuff's not okay. And he needed to be checked and said, like, you know what? You are essentially someone that needs to be out of the spotlight because of what you're doing.
If you guys don't know what we're talking about, just look up Dan Schneider's scandal or on YouTube, and there's plenty of videos that dive into what he was doing behind the scenes or what he was showing in his shows that he would create. And it's really uncomfortable when you really look at it and how he was, especially with one actress is Amanda Bynes. When he did the Amanda Show,
he developed the Amanda Show.
Yeah, he did everything. So all these shows that he's done was all that. Kenan and Kel, Amanda Show, Drake and Josh, iCarly, Victorious. Those are all. He created essentially that kind of like Nickelodeon verse.
Wow.
Yeah. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So
Jesus.
Yeah.
But it like, it's just it's aggressive, and it's throwing away opportunities to show, future generations how culture develops.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave it on this fact that I'm going to take a lot of the things that I grew up with and show my future kids what was the culture when I was a kid.
Yes.
And
then also explain certain things that weren't right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm going to show my kids the Tom and Jerry cartoons I grew up with. I'm going to tell them, it's like, hey, you know what? Like, if you want to impress the girl, you don't need to smoke a cigar.
No.
You don't need to, act all cool and wear a cowboy hat. You don't need to be like Pepe Le Pew and go after girls that way, because it's not okay. There's certain things that have evolved, and these are the things that you need to understand are acceptable. And I'm going to take the time to teach my kids that, because that's what develops that bond between a child and parent. That's what I had with my dad and what I had with my mom as well. They both taught me how to be a decent human being because they used things that they grew up with and told me, this is what I grew up with. These things are not acceptable now, So I hope that cancel culture and the people involved in it kind of get this as like an opportunity to look back and be like, okay, let's take a break. More than likely it won't, because it's also the internet.
Yeah.
But, I hope people take advantage of it and say, like, let's take a step back and, understand that it's not all, terrible out there in the world. We can, cancel things, and not necessarily cancel, but like call things out and check some stuff and be like, hey, while we're moving forward, this isn't acceptable anymore.
Yeah.
That's the point I'm going to leave it on.
Definitely.
You got anything to add?
No, you said
was
it
it?
perfectly. Yeah.
Okay. Well, it was fun doing this issue. We're gonna cancel. We're getting canceled next.
Next
issue. We didn't even make it issue 40. That's
Keeping
it.
Up with the Nerds getting canceled.
And done. We're in an hour 20, huh?
Hour and 22. We're gonna hit an hour 23 right now.
You know what? I feel like we needed this.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now, Rene. I am so glad that we got to do this issue because this week has been just busy.
Definitely.
I feel like I needed to come out on this and just talk with you and just have fun that's outside of like work and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. I always looked forward to Fridays.
Yeah, Fridays are like the thing. Like Fridays, we can be going out and doing stuff and stuff like that, but this is just fun for us.
This is more fun, honestly.
This is great. Putting stuff out there in the world, making content and producing stuff. It's all I look forward to at this point. I'm glad I get to do it with you too.
Same here.
Next issue will be the Justice League movie.
Jeez
Yes.
Louise.
So if you guys have not seen, I don't know if it's going to be posted before this. I'm going to try to before this podcast comes up, but there is a video on our YouTube channel. Like I said before, if you have not followed us on YouTube, go there and subscribe because we will have an episode 0, quote unquote, with Falcon and the Winter Soldier on there. And we're going to be talking about pretty much, everything that's going to be going on with Falcon and the Winter Soldier show.
Yes.
We'll be making videos on there. For next week, we will be talking about the Zack Snyder cut of the Justice League movie. We're going to be here. It's going to be a heavy issue because,
I don't know how long that thing's going to last because we got to cover 4 hours of a movie.
Oh, God.
And if you guys want to follow, I don't know, wait, will this episode come out the week of?
The week of
next
the
week?
Zack
Okay, so
Snyder
next
cut.
Wednesday, I'm trying to remember. So, guys, if you guys want to follow us on Thursday night, we'll post little stories of me and Brian watching it and stuff like that. We'll keep you.
You'll be in charge of that.
Yeah,
I think you're better. Yeah.
So me and Brian are gonna schedule and try to watch it together and stuff. So if you guys want to keep up, just follow us on our Instagram.
Yeah, just look up Keeping Up with the Nerds. We also have a Twitter. We don't really post much on there, but it's just like we use it to remind people when the podcasts go up and stuff like that. So follow us on our socials, and you guys can comment on there and let us know what you guys think of the issues and stuff. And our YouTube, we have the podcast loaded up on there as well. So you feel free to comment on there and let us know what you think. Before we wrap this issue up, like I said before, we have a YouTube channel. Please go subscribe, share it.
Please.
Let us know what you think on there on our videos and stuff and comment down below. If you're listening to this podcast on our audio platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Podbean, let us know what you guys think and hit us with a follow. Apple Podcasts has a review section. We have a 5-star review, which is great.
Really?
Yeah, we do. But we have like a 20% listening rate on there, like for Apple
Okay.
Podcasts. So if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, hit us up with a review. Let us know what you guys think. Like, if it's like a 5-star or 4-star, love you guys. If it's a 3-star, we still love you.
Wait,
If
someone gave us 1 star?
one 5-star review.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I was like, wait,
No.
someone gave us a 1 out of 5. I'm like, who hated us? I was like,
And if it's a 1 or 2-star review, we still love
We'll
you.
take it.
We'll take it.
With a
We'll
grain
take
of salt.
Yeah. Whatever. We
like the feedback regardless.
Yeah. So follow us on there and on our socials as well on Instagram and Twitter. Just look us up at Keeping Up with the Nerds. Let us know what you guys think. With that said, let's go ahead and wrap this up.
All right, it's your turn.
Oh no! I was not ready. Not ready. All
It
right.
was not real good.
Yes.
All
Here we
right.
go.
Thank you, citizens, for listening to this issue of Keeping Up with the Nerds Variety Hour. I'm your host, Brian.
Rene.
Coming to you from 12920 Philadelphia Street, Whittier, California. Recording at Undercity Comics. We thank you, citizens, once again, and hope to see you all next time.